I don't think you can dream big enough. And when you dream big, just crazy things happen. The universe bends itself to make things happen. While I was chatting with dentist, I realized really quickly that teeth are disgusting. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this. It's not failure. It's time to redirect your efforts and moving full speed. Don't hit the brakes. Just change directions. You're not good enough. Nothing could have lit a fire under me more than someone telling me you're not good enough. Willingness, really, to redirect, to learn something new, even though I was quote unquote done with my education, and get good at something. If you mix work with passion, you won't work a day of your life. If you're passionate about what you're doing, it's not even like work, it's just fun, it's just play. I'm not worried about my job because I know how important relationships are with the clients that I have. I know that I'm willing and able to keep and build those relationships, and that's what makes me successful. The title of my presentation today is Dream Big. As an entrepreneur, I don't think that you can emphasize that point enough. And I want you guys all to question through this process and this presentation. I want you to question yourselves, are you dreaming big enough? Because one thing that I learned through going to school and then career paths and everything is just, I don't think you can. I don't think you can dream big enough. And when you dream big, just crazy things happen. The universe bends itself to make things happen that you would never have ever anticipated. And it all stems, in my opinion, from dreaming big and then along the way, just redirecting. As you mess up or fail, change course, but always maintain speed and momentum. Okay, so just a quick overview of my presentation. I want to tell my story mostly. Kind of how my education and my interests have kind of merged into one big thing, which became sort of my career, which is always changing and morphing and redirecting all the time. I want to show a bunch of videos. A lot of what I do is in the video realm. So to keep it real, I want to show just a bunch of videos and then just show at the very end just a couple quick case studies of things that I thought were just kind of cool with kind of the path that I've taken. And then just some takeaways. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Holden, Utah on an alfalfa farm. And extra points if anyone knows where Holden is. Anybody? Oh, we got a few. Does anyone know any from Holden? Really? Sure enough, I know her too. She married one of my best friends that's my age in high school. Cool. Okay, so yeah, Holden, little tiny town, 500 people. For those of you who don't know what alfalfa is, that's hay that you feed like horses and cows. I've always loved fishing and just being in the outdoors. I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ in Brazil. And I've got a bachelor's degree from here, Southern Utah University, in biology and zoology. I took tons of classes in this exact room. Throughout my time here at SUU, I always planned on becoming a dentist all the way through like my junior year of college. And as a junior, I started shadowing a dentist. I took the DAT, I got a good score, I was like ready to apply for dental school. And while I was shadowing the dentist, I realized really quickly that teeth are disgusting. And who wants to be inside that every day? And I would come home to my wife, and she could just tell that, it was just heavy, And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this. Is this really what I want to do every single day? My whole life is be looking at that. And she's the one that brought up the question. She's like, well, what are you passionate about? And honestly, I had never even considered ever, not once, my whole life had I ever considered anything but being a dentist because I had this uncle that was a dentist and I was looking at his lifestyle. Nothing against, dentists, but I was like, I really want to be a dentist because I want that lifestyle that I thought he had, right? So my wife made me question it and I just thought, wow, well, maybe I will kind of make a redirect, a course change, completely kind of just change directions in what I'm going to do. And this is kind of the main theme of my talk, is just changing directions. And entrepreneurship is exactly that. It is when something doesn't work, because every time, most things don't work in entrepreneurship. But what it is first of all, it's not failure. It's time to redirect your efforts and just keep your momentum going and moving, and not just going and moving, but going and moving full speed. Don't hit the brakes. Just change directions. And for me, this has led to so many cool opportunities, and I want to talk about some of those. So again, this was me. I was headed this direction, was going to be a dentist, but inside, that was me. I was this guy that wanted to be outside and go fishing and hunting and just be outside was just the biggest thing. I just needed to be outside was like my main thing. So after, shadowing the dentist, I made this change here. And I decided to go to Utah State and get a master's degree in fisheries. So that's what I did. Luckily, I only had to change a few of my classes around last minute, my senior year. And I took some more, animal and biology-related classes, and I went to Utah State. I got a degree, and then I kind of fed this passion that I have for fly fishing in the outdoors. So I just was fishing a lot. Asked my wife. And I also became a self-taught videographer. So, again, big redirect, but there I was. So I became a fisheries biologist after getting my degree for the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. And I was living up in northern Utah still, up by Utah State. And at the same time, I started a blog. Does anybody know what a blog is? Is that too old for these people? Okay. Circa 2010. Were all of you born in 2010? That's good. But I'd feel really bad. Okay, so 2010, we started a blog. The blog was called outsmartingfish.com. And this was like something on the side, right? And me and a couple of my friends, and we were writing these articles, and we were filming and shooting photos of these awesome fishing trips and adventures that we were going on. And we were posting it here on the blog. And also, we had this little store attached to the site. So the traffic, the articles and stuff were driving to the site, made this e-commerce site where people were going on. They were buying fly fishing gear. We had reviews. We had all sorts of gear. People were buying stuff, and it was like, this is awesome. We made it. This is the thing. And I thought that was really going to be like the thing. At the same time, we were like creating these videos, and they weren't very good, but we sure thought they were at the time. And we got this invitation from what's called the International Fly Fishing Film Festival. Has anyone heard of that before? A couple people? So it's just a traveling film festival, travels all around the world, really, and just shows like a collection of like mini feature films, like 14-minute, 12-minute, 7-minute films, all over the place. We got invited by them because of some of the content we'd created to create a film and submit it to them. But every year, there's like hundreds of films that get submitted, right? And then there's this selections committee that looks at the films and decides which ones are good enough to be, quote unquote, official selections of the International Fly Fishing Film Festival. Well, one of my partners, there was three of us, three partners, and one of the partners, upon getting this invitation, told me this: you're not good enough. I hope that at some point in all of your lives, someone tells you that. Because if it had the same effect on you that it had on me, nothing could have lit a fire under me more than someone telling me, you're not good enough. You're not good at videography. You're not good enough at filmmaking. You're not good enough. And you know what? The same guy at the same time decided that the store on our blog belonged 100% to him, because he's the one that added the shopping cart software to our site. So at the same time, he said, and by the way, you're not good enough, and the store that you guys created, that we created, I own it, so sorry, if you guys want to keep creating content, that'd be great. And I'm like, nope, hard pass. So here's actual video footage of the fate of that business. That business, I mean, if you think about it, a store that has no content driving traffic to a store dies, right? And it did very quickly, as did the partnership. So here we are again. Redirect, right? I mentioned the fire that was kind of lit underneath me. You know, this is a good motto. He may have been right. Maybe I wasn't good enough to create that film then. Now, maybe you're not good enough now, but I can learn. So I did like the biggest deep dive that was ever known to man, down every rabbit hole that could ever be explored, and I decided to master this right here. Cameras, video cameras, lenses, light, everything there is to do with filmmaking and videography. I tried to learn it via YouTube University, straight up. That's how I did it. I didn't take any, I was already done with my education at that point. But this, just kind of this mindset of always learning and always finding something to deep dive into just did crazy things for me. And over the next decade, it was like adventure after adventure after adventure after adventure after adventure. You get the idea. Just literally everything you can even imagine. Interesting story. But just absolutely crazy adventures all over the world because of that willingness, really, to redirect, to learn something new, even though I was quote-unquote done with my education, and get good at something, right? Get through these. Okay, so over the next 12 years from that time that he told me we're not good enough, the very next year being the first. So that very year he told me we're not good enough, we submitted our first film to the International Fly Fishing Film Festival. And over the next 12 years, all 12 films have been accepted as official selections to the International Fly Fishing Film Festival. And these are like thumbnails from those 12 films that we did. And this is our current film that's currently on tour with the International Fly Fishing Film Festival. It's called The Price of Admission. And one cool thing about the tour is that every showing at the end of the film, a QR code pops up, and the audience, just the people that are there at the film festival, get to vote on their favorite film, right? There's like a People's Choice Award for the best film is what you're searching and hunting for. And so for me, this has a lot of meaning to me because of those 12 films, one of which voting has not happened yet. So of 11 films that we created, 4 times our films won the festival, best film in the festival. And I'm proud of that, you know, because I can back it up with the work that really went into that and the passion that really went into creating those films. So I want to show a couple just trailers or, you know, a couple pieces of some of those films. This is a trailer for one of the films called Seriously North. And this, again, I mentioned this is a big, long story. We'll have to tell that another time, unfortunately. But this is a trailer for Seriously North, one of the films that did win the festival. So hopefully the audio and everything works.
If there's any fish that any one of the 4 of us
So kind of fun, right? So I fish with guys that have the craziest beards, and I can't even grow a mustache. It's pretty sweet. So this film, I'm actually going to skip, or I'll just show you just the first little bit. There's a couple cool one-liners in this film. This is a film we did just a couple years ago in Iceland, and it was told from the perspective of someone kind of your age and in your level of experience that was just wanting to kind of dive into the realm of like filmmaking. And he was sort of like an intern on this trip, and he became like the storyteller of the piece. So I'll show a little bit of it, but then we'll have to move on.
What if someone told you that your dreams aren't as far away as you think they are? What would you do to make those dreams of today come true tomorrow? At their core, dreams ignite a powerful sense of purpose and potential within us. They act as beacons, guiding us toward our aspirations, nudging us to take risks, prompting us to innovate and push the boundaries of what we think is possible.
So stoked for this morning. Beautiful day. It's not raining. Which is good. It's been raining a lot. Excited to see what happens.
So this seafood fishery is very special. It's kind of unique. It's all native fish. They've always been here before the human, before the white people. It's all volcanic area, volcanoes all around. So they have survived a lot of volcanic eruptions, floods, lava and floods. So these fish are very, very strong and very special. Big fish. I mean, very big fish. I mean, huge.
I first discovered the work of several years ago. To me, these guys were living the ultimate dream. They were out there fly fishing in epic places, catching big fish, and dominating the fly fishing film scene for years. To be honest, I was jealous, and even more than that, I wasn't living my dreams. Growing up, I always loved fishing. I loved hitting the same honey holes with my buddies, and always enjoyed finding some stockfish at the local pond, even if the fish weren't as big as I hoped they'd be. Deep down, I always had this feeling like I could do more with fly fishing, like it could take me places and let me do things I've always dreamed of doing. I couldn't see the path at all. I could only see the end results playing over in my head, like a recurring dream. As I kept seeing Gilbert and Phil's work, I got more and more curious about their processes, like the techniques they were using for both fishing and filming. Over time, we became friends. But little did I know, these small interactions were the beginning of what was actually the universe bending itself to make my dreams become reality. Clear ability to make and act on specific choices today. Catching sea run crabs in Iceland is just one of many dreams I have. And more than anything, this experience taught me that no matter how far away our dreams might seem, the moment we start taking action, the closer we are to making those dreams come to life.
Kind of fun. So one of my other big mantras in life is this: if you mix work with passion, you've probably all heard the saying, "Oh, if you do something like that, you won't work a day of your life." Very true. Very true. If you're passionate about what you're doing, it's not even like work. It's just fun. It's just play. And that's one of the things that I would try to pass along to you guys today. So redirects, right? More redirects. Here's a pretty good one. So while I was working for the Division of Wildlife, instead of being a biologist, I decided that I would become a videographer for them. So instead of doing fish work, I started doing work in the whole Division of Wildlife realm. So, collaring big game species, habitat work, everything. I was just creating videos and helping the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources to tell their story. And, that just was, for me, another reroute, another change that was just right along with me mixing my passions with work. And it was really awesome. I'm going to skip that video because I don't have time. So one of the other big redirects that I had, that was filmed in the library here, by the way, is I became a business owner. Just in 2022, aside from the other, film businesses, I started another side business to 3D print deer antlers, of all things. And it was kind of crazy how it came about. I actually was shed hunting. For those of you that don't know what that is, every year there's antlers. They fall off deer and elk's heads. People go around, pick them up, and I was one of those people. And I picked one up, and I looked for the other side for forever, and I couldn't find it. And I looked and I looked and I looked, and I spent hundreds of dollars in gas driving to where it was and looking and never found it. And then I had this idea. I was like, well, maybe I can like create the other side somehow. So using the side that I found, I started exploring 3D technologies, scanning, mirroring, that sort of thing. And I just, again, huge rabbit hole. But I got so far down in the rabbit hole that I was so interested in it that I was like, I got to create a business doing this. So we started scanning people's shed antlers and creating the match so you could have a set. There was a perfect exact mirror. So scan one side, mirror it, 3D print it. I had an artist that was contracted to paint them to match and look exactly like the other side. And that's what the business was founded on. But like most businesses, that's usually, you have this great idea, you think it's awesome, but really another big redirect came and we started doing something kind of totally different. So this guy's name's Gary Lord. He harvested this deer in Colorado in the 60s, and 3 weeks after he harvested the deer, it got stolen right out of his house. Gone forever. Gone. He hasn't seen it since. So he came to us at a trade show and said, can you recreate that from this one photo? That's all I got. He actually had 2 photos, but they were from the same angle. And I was like, no, I can't. That would be awesome if I could, but I can't. And he was like, well, figure it out, and I'll pay you to do it. And I was like, well, how much will you pay me, Gary, to do it? And he told me a scary number, really scary. And I was like, oh my heck, what if? What if this is like a new direction that we could take Antler Tech that could be really good and really cool? So what did I do? Down the rabbit hole, as deep as I could go. How can we recreate that? What technologies can we use? What softwares can we use? What can I use? What of my artistic abilities could I use to recreate that? And after like a whole year's worth of like digging and deep diving, I digitally sculpted that. That's a 3D rendering of that exact deer. Just sculpted it from like as if it was digital, as if it was real clay sitting right here in front of me. I did it, but I did it on a computer screen. And once it was created and it overlaid, I mean, there's obviously some creative liberties because there's no image from this side, right? All I had was that image from the front. But I recreated that deer digitally from scratch, from that one photo. Then we 3D printed it. And this kind of shows the process. This is just like an Instagram reel that we created. But I'll just let it play through real quick. So that was literally like a back from the dead moment, right? We created something that didn't exist. There was no other way to do it. There was no process. This literally did not exist. We were the first people to ever do this, okay? And because of it, we had a really neat experience. That's Gary Lord. He's the one that harvested the deer. And at the Salt Lake Hunting and Conservation Expo this spring, he came to the show, and for the first time in 50 years, he stood in front of the deer that he harvested however many years ago, and he stood there for like half an hour, and he cried like a baby. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. Because it actually made a huge difference and impact and brought so much joy into his life to have that deer back. And more, I find some of the greatest satisfaction in doing work that impacts other people for good and brings joy into their life. And for me, that's what Antler Tech is about. And all the while of Antler Tech, we're still doing film stuff too. But anyways, so one other quick redirect that took place in the last year is while doing all this Antler work, we had a client that wanted some digital work done on a set of antlers that he had purchased, this set of antlers to be exact, for, are you ready for this? $1 million is what he paid for this set of antlers. So this is the typical world record whitetail sheds off a deer that they call the General. And he bought those antlers from another collector for, like I said, $1 million. And 40 days after he bought those antlers, historic images surfaced of the antlers from like the 70s of the deer having extra tines that weren't on the rack as it was sold to him, which basically made the deer go from being worth $1 million to being altered, kicked out of the record books, and being worth this many dollars, like overnight. And so he, because of that, he was like, wow, that stings, right? But he wanted to tell that story to the world. And so he started a brand called the OG brand. And the whole idea with it was, well, we're going to put those extras back on the deer. And that's why he hired us, so that we could take those historic images and put the cheaters, put the extras, those extra tines back on the rack in the right places. But through that, we built this huge relationship, me and the guy that purchased this deer. And that's something that I want to emphasize to you as you guys that could be entrepreneurs and business owners. This is like everything in business, relationships. Because AI can edit video. AI can do that and create video. AI can do all these things. And many of you may be wondering, like, am I like going down a road where AI is going to take my job that I want to do? This is the difference. I'm not worried about my job, any of my jobs, even my filmmaking job, because I know how important relationships are with the clients that I have. I know that I'm willing and able to keep and build those relationships, and that's what makes me successful. It's not the deliverables. It's not the video. Sure, that could be part of it, but more important than the deliverables is this right here. Because, working with this guy, with this deer, another redirect, I became a brand producer for him because he liked what I did. He found out I did video. He was like, holy cow, you do video. No way. You've been working on these antlers for me, but you do video. So he hired me to be a content creator for him. And now, it's crazy, but we're filming a Netflix series about that deer, about this $1 million deer. And it's going to be out on like July 4th, which is cool. So this is just a tiny little piece of, teaser, if you will, of this film. This is the guy, his name's Josh. This is who bought the deer for $1 million. He's a bajillionaire. And that is the General's Antlers. It's actually a 3D printed replica, don't worry, that he's holding there, and it's got like $100 bills wrapped all over it to kind of tell the story of he bought these antlers 40 days later. They weren't worth anything, right? But just kind of a cool little... anyways, kind of cool. Okay, one last thing to kind of end on, then I'll take some questions, is just this case study. So there was this resort in the Turks and Caicos. Everybody know where the Turks and Caicos is? It's kind of in the Caribbean, east of the Bahamas, southeast of the Bahamas. We got hired by this resort called East Bay Resort to come and film a video to promote the fly fishing opportunities in that area on an island called South Caicos. And their hope with the video was that they could then show the video to investors who would then dump a bunch of money into renewing and rebranding the resort and making it like totally awesome. It's literally one of two. It's the only resort on the whole island. There is another like little villa type resort, but it's not really a resort. So they were kind of hoping to, rebrand, make it awesome. So they hired us. So we went out there and we filmed a video. And this is the video that we made. I'll show it to you real quick. It's really short. So that's it. Really simple, really short, right? We went there to create that. It's like a 1-minute edit, right? And they showed it to investors, and the investors dumped some $60 million into the resort, and the resort became this, and we built this incredible relationship with the owner of the resort, and now they just have us come back, hang out, film a little bit with the fam. And I hope that doesn't come across as bragging, but it's because of relationships. I want to reemphasize that. It's because of relationships that got us this gig that then, and I mean, yeah, the product was pretty good that we made, but even more important was that client, the owner of Salterra Resorts, which is now like a Bonvoy Marriott luxury collection hotel, he just liked working with us. And he tells us that. He's like, I just like working with you guys. You guys are fun. You guys are happy. You guys, sure, you deliver. But he appreciated just the relationships of that. This was just a couple weeks ago, actually. We were over there filming. And that was the talent. I got to bring my family along, which that's the first time I've been able to do that. But it was pretty dang cool. And really, that's kind of the gist of my presentation, I guess, is be willing to adapt. Be willing to redirect. Be willing to build relationships, mix work with your passions, be fearless, and then just last but not least, dream big. Don't dream little like this little kid. Dream that big. Because sometimes those dreams just straight up come true if you're dreaming big enough. So, thank you. Any questions? Go ahead.
So obviously you started doing stuff that hadn't been done before, like 3D printing antlers and stuff. How did you decide a price tag for something that's never been done?
Oh, try it straight up. Okay, so the camera is not going to pick up your question. Asked how I'm setting price tags for things that have never been done, like 3D printed antlers. 100% trial and error. Like we set prices, and at first we set them, and we were like feeling like, oh, I think that's a little too high, But really, we weren't charging enough. Not even close were we charging enough. And so it's just charge it, just do it, send it, try it, and adapt. So we've adjusted our pricing at least 100 times in the last 4 years, at least. Yeah.
So the paint that you use on the antlers, how long does it last, or does it melt in the heat, or how what?
It lasts forever. It's oil paint. It's the same paint. So he asked what paint we use and does it last. Yeah, we use oil paints, and it's just like a canvas. Same exact paint that we're painting on canvas is what we're painting on the antlers. Yeah.
So you got like so many different kind of redirects or like different sources of revenue. Which one do you like? Do you focus on one specifically more than the other?
Yeah, and that's a good question. So he asked if, if I focus on one thing over another, as like some might have different amounts of revenue tied to them. It's a great question. It's really just kind of, I would almost call it seasonal. Like right now, I'm actually spending most of my time working with Josh and that $1 million deer. It probably takes 30 hours a week that I'm spending on Josh's work. And that's also my largest revenue stream. But at the same time, I'm having to keep up with like orders. So Antler Tech is also an e-commerce Shopify store. We sell a whole bunch of just products that I 3D print. And so I have to keep up with all that stuff, which unfortunately right now usually just means me working a lot of Saturdays and late nights because I have this unique opportunity to work with Josh. Don't know how long it's going to last, but I have to keep up with the other side of the business too. So a lot of what you do as an entrepreneur equals late nights, unfortunately. But a lot of it's seasonal. Certain times of the year I'm doing more work with Josh. Other times of the year I'm doing more video work. This week I'll be doing some videos for like different county tourisms here in Utah. So I'm doing a video for Garfield County Tourism at Bryce Canyon. And then next week I'm doing a video for San Juan County Tourism. And then at the same time trying to keep up with Antler Tech stuff and Josh's stuff. So it's pretty busy. Yeah.
How do you find clients for your videos? Do you reach out to them or do they reach out to you?
Great question. Most of the video work we do, she asked how we find clients. Most of the video work we do is in two industries, either the fly fishing industry or the tourism industry. And we've kind of, in the fly fishing industry for sure, we just sort of got a portfolio, made a name for ourselves, and all of that work comes just by them reaching out to us. I don't have to ever seek work in the fly fishing industry. It's constantly people contacting us saying, we have a lodge, we want you guys to promote it. We want to promote the fishery that we have here in Belize, wherever. And they just contact us directly. And that just, mostly that comes from the film festival edits that we've done. In the tourism industry, we do seek out that work. So we reach out to these county jobs and say, do you guys have any work? We have some ideas of some things that we could maybe bring to the table. So with that, we have proposals that we write up, and we've become pretty proficient in writing proposals, and we send proposals to clients and they say, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. So good question. Yeah.
With Antler Tech, do you still prefer to have the whole head brought in, or if you got to a point where it's easy enough to just do it off the picture?
We for sure prefer to have the head brought in. So the question was, do we prefer to have the head to scan or can we do it off of pictures? We can do it off of pictures. The price difference and the labor involved in just doing it from scratch with just the photos, it costs me like 3 times as much because it can take me up to, like that deer that I sculpted for Gary Lord, it took me over 100 hours to sculpt. So, yeah.
What's your main 3D modeling program?
She asked what the main 3D modeling program was that I use. I use a program called ZBrush, is the main sculpting software that I use. And it's a software that is used primarily in like the video game industry to create like monsters and characters. So people are like sculpting, crazy people, and then they're exporting those mesh files and animating them within ZBrush and creating like all of their hinges and movement, and then they're using them in video games. And it's incredible. It's like the most incredible software in the whole world. And if you guys get really good at it, I'll probably hire you. So, Yeah.
With your first strategic partner, I guess, it kind of bit you in the butt, right? Like with the website thing.
Yeah.
How did you go, like, do you have other partners? Like, how did you go about, like, choosing those?
Oh, that's a really great question. Asking about partners and how you choose partners, and I've had partners that have failed. Really great question. So, first of all, a lot of people ask me if I think partnerships are a good idea, and I've had several partnerships, quote unquote, fail or just we split up, right? Maybe mutually. And I always tell everyone that my answer to that is yes. A partnership is worth it almost every time. And my reasoning for that is because it creates a very real accountability. So you've got someone you've got these tasks that you've been tasked to do, and this is your skill set, and this is my skill set right here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to tackle these tasks. And then constantly you're checking up on each other, right? You're like, hey, did you do your thing? Because I did my thing. But did you do yours, right? And that's actually where enters a lot of problems in partnerships, is very often you're doing your thing and your partner isn't doing his thing. But I had a partner actually in Antler Tech too that is no longer my partner. And it wasn't he wasn't doing his part, I was doing mine. It was just actually that they were ready to try something new and moved, and that partnership went away. But I have had other partnerships that were just straight up like train wreck, ended bad, hardly talk to those people anymore, which is hard and challenging. A lot of times when money gets involved in businesses, and especially when businesses start making money, things get real sensitive real fast, right? And so I would just advise you guys, if you're going to be in a partnership with in a business, to just always just be really good on the front end, to really lay down like the terms of the partnership, including a breakup strategy. Like, hey, I really like you right now. We do really good work together. What if a year from now, I'm like, I want out of this? On the front end of that, you write up a business partnership agreement that has all the terms of the agreement, who gets what, who does what, what's expected, how much money, how much percentage, everything. And then in a year from now, when I'm like, I'm out, what does that look like? And how much of the business do I take? Do I have to sell it? Do you buy me out? All of those details are there. And then it's just cake. You don't have to worry about it. And that was the case with my partner with Antler Tech. We had it all figured out. So it was pretty easy to have that breakup, if you will. Okay, thanks guys.